You sit at your dinner table. Your phone buzzes constantly. Messages flood in from dozens of people. Yet something feels empty inside. Something feels profoundly alone. You scroll through hundreds of contacts. You see familiar faces at every social gathering. People know your name. They laugh at your jokes. They invite you to their parties. But here's the uncomfortable truth you've been avoiding. None of them really know you. So when was the last time someone asked how you truly felt? Not how's work, but how you actually felt about your life, your dreams, your fears. When was the last time you shared something real, something vulnerable? You can't remember. Can you? And here's the deeper question that haunts you in quiet moments. If something terrible happened to you tomorrow, who would you call? Not for practical help, not for advice, but for someone to simply sit with you in your pain. That list is frighteningly short, isn't it? You have no real friends because you've never learned to be a real person. Real friendship requires something our culture has forgotten. Authenticity. Not the kind you post on social media, but the raw, unfiltered truth of who you actually are. Most people you know are performing. They're playing a character they think others want to see. The successful professional, the happy family person. But underneath that performance, they're just as lost as everyone else. And you're doing the same thing. You present this polished version of yourself. You share your victories but hide your struggles. You show your strength but conceal your vulnerability. But people don't connect with your successes. They connect with your struggles. They bond over your imperfections, your fears, your humanity. Here's what's really happening in your relationships. You're having parallel conversations. You're both talking, but neither of you is really communicating. You're both sharing, but neither of you is being seen. You talk about surface things because surface feels safe. Work, projects, weekend plans, the weather, TV shows. But underneath those conversations, you're both starving for something real, something that actually matters. You're like two people drowning who are afraid to admit they can't swim. Both of you are struggling. Both of you need help. But you're both too proud to reach out, too scared to be vulnerable, too convinced that showing weakness will push the other away. You wonder why your friendships feel surface level, why conversations never go beyond small talk, why people don't seem to care about you the way you wish they would. And because of it, you are not unstuck. You are not stuck. It's because you're not giving them anything real to care about. You're like a beautiful storefront with nothing inside. People admire the window display. They might even step inside for a moment, but they leave quickly because there's nothing of substance to explore. Real friendship is built on mutual vulnerability. It's built on the courage to say, this is who I really am. This is what I'm struggling with. This is what scares me. But you're terrified of that conversation because you think if people saw the real you, they'd run away. You think your struggles make you weak. Your fears make you pathetic. So you keep wearing the mask. You keep playing the character. And you wonder why you feel so alone in a crowded room. Here's something you need to understand. Everyone is struggling with something. Everyone has fears. Everyone feels lost sometimes. But we've all agreed to pretend otherwise. We've created a culture of performative happiness, where showing struggle is seen as failure, where being human is somehow not enough. And in that culture, real friendship becomes impossible. Because real friendship requires seeing and being seen. It requires knowing and being known. It requires accepting and being accepted for who you truly are, not who you pretend to be. You want to know why you have no real friends? It's because you've never allowed anyone to meet the real you. But let me tell you what happens when you continue down this path. The psychological cost of living behind a mask becomes unbearable. First, you lose touch with yourself. When you spend years presenting a false image, you start to forget who you really are underneath. You become a stranger to yourself. Second, you develop what psychologists call imposter syndrome in relationships. You constantly worry that people will discover you're not who you pretend to be. Every interaction becomes exhausting. Third, you attract the wrong people. When you present a false version of yourself, you attract people who are drawn to that false version. These relationships are built on deception from the start. Fourth, you push away the right people. Authentic people can sense when someone is being fake. They feel the disconnect and naturally drift away. The loneliness deepens. The emptiness grows. You find yourself surrounded by people who don't really know you. You become like an actor who's been playing the same role for so long they've forgotten their real name. But the very thing you're afraid will push people away is actually what will draw the right people closer. Your struggles don't make you weak. They make you human. Your fears don't make you pathetic. They make you relatable. Your imperfections don't make you unlovable. They make you real. And real is what people are starving for in this artificial world. You want to be seen, you want to be known, you want to be accepted for who you truly are, but you're trying to achieve that while hiding who you truly are. It's like trying to get a suntan while staying in the shadows. You need to stop managing your image and start sharing your truth. This doesn't mean oversharing with everyone. It means being selectively vulnerable with people who have earned the right to hear your story. Start small. Choose one person in your life who feels safe. Share one real thing with them, not a major trauma. Just something authentic about your experience. Maybe it's admitting you sometimes feel overwhelmed. Maybe it's sharing a dream you've been scared to pursue. Watch what happens. If they're the right kind of person, they won't judge you. They'll likely share something real in return. And suddenly, you'll have the beginning of an authentic connection. This is how real friendship begins. With small acts of courage, with tiny moments of truth, with the willingness to let someone see behind your carefully constructed facade. But you have to go first. You have to be willing to take the risk. You have to be willing to be vulnerable before you can expect others to be vulnerable with you. This is where most people get stuck. They want others to open up first. They want guaranteed safety before they take any emotional risks. But that's not how trust works. Trust is built through mutual risk-taking, through shared vulnerability. You can't wait for the perfect person to appear before you start being real. You have to start being real to attract real people. And yes, some people will judge you. Some people will reject you. Some people will use your vulnerability against you. This is the risk of being human. But here's what you need to understand. Those people were never going to be real friends anyway. They were only interested in your performance. When you stop performing, they naturally fall away. And that's a good thing. It makes space for the people who want to know the real you. Here's something most people don't realize about authentic relationships. They require emotional intelligence that we're never taught. We learn how to present ourselves professionally, but nobody teaches us how to connect soul to soul. You've been trained to see emotions as weaknesses to manage rather than bridges to connection. You've been taught that showing uncertainty makes you look incompetent, but these beliefs are destroying your capacity for real friendship. Most of your relationships involve emotional labor. You work to maintain a certain image. You manage other people's perceptions of you. You calculate what to share and what to hide. This is exhausting. This is why you feel drained after social interactions. Even when they went well, you've been performing, not connecting. You've also been conditioned to compete instead of connect. Even in your friendships, you're comparing. Whose life looks better? Who's more successful? Who's happier? This competitive mindset kills intimacy. You can't be vulnerable with someone you're trying to impress. You can't connect authentically when you're keeping score. Real friendship requires competitive surrender. The willingness to stop trying to win the relationship. To stop trying to be the most interesting person in the room. It means being willing to say, I don't know. It means admitting when you're struggling. This goes against everything our culture teaches us. We're told that admitting weakness is career suicide, that showing uncertainty is leadership failure. But in relationships, the opposite is true. Your willingness to be imperfect is what makes you approachable. Your willingness to not have all the answers is what makes you relatable. Think about the people you respect most. I guarantee they're not the ones who pretend to have perfect lives. They're the ones who are honest about their struggles, yet you continue to hide yours. There's another layer to this that most people miss. You don't just hide your struggles. You hide your dreams too. You present safe dreams, conventional goals, but your real dreams, the ones that come from your soul, you keep those locked away. So you talk about wanting a promotion when what you really want is to write poetry. You discuss vacation plans when what you really crave is adventure. But your dreams are part of your authenticity. When you hide what you truly want, you're hiding who you truly are. This creates what I call relationship vertigo. You're constantly feeling off balance because you're not standing on solid ground. You're standing on the shaky foundation of pretense. And everyone can sense it, even if they can't name it. People feel the disconnect when they talk to you. They sense something is missing. Something doesn't quite add up. You seem nice enough, successful enough, interesting enough, but there's no depth, no substance, no real person behind the performance. It's like talking to a hologram. It looks real, but when you try to touch it, your hand goes right through. You're not trying to deceive anyone. You genuinely believe this is how relationships work. This is how you protect yourself. This is how you avoid rejection and judgment. But what you've actually done is create a different kind of rejection, a quieter kind, a more painful kind, the kind where people don't dislike you, they just don't think about you. They don't hate you, They simply forget you exist when you're not around. You're not trying to be friends with everyone. You're trying to find your people, the ones who see your imperfections and love you anyway, the ones who appreciate your authenticity more than your achievements, the ones who want to know your story, not just your status. These people exist, but they can't find you while you're hiding. Real friendship also requires something else you might not be prepared for. It requires you to be genuinely interested in others as they truly are, not as they present themselves to be. Most people are terrible at this. They listen to respond, not to understand. They wait for their turn to talk instead of truly hearing what the other person is saying. They judge instead of accept. They try to fix instead of simply witness. If you want real friends, you have to become a real friend. That means developing the capacity to see beyond people's masks, to ask deeper questions, to create safe spaces for others to be vulnerable. It means listening with curiosity instead of judgment. It means asking, how did that make you feel? Instead of, what are you going to do about it? It means sitting with someone's pain instead of rushing to solve it. Most people have never experienced this kind of listening. When you offer it, they feel seen in a way they rarely experience, and they begin to trust you with more of their truth. This is how deep friendships are built. Through mutual seeing, through shared vulnerability, through the courage to be real in a world that rewards pretense. But there's something else that's keeping you from real friendship. You're addicted to being needed, but you're allergic to needing others. You love being the helper, the advice giver, the strong one people turn to in crisis. But when you need support, when you're struggling, you disappear. You handle it alone. This creates one-sided relationships. People come to you when they need something, but they never get to give back. They never get to support you. And that's not friendship. That's a service you provide. Real friendship is reciprocal. It involves both giving and receiving, both supporting and being supported. But you're terrified of being a burden. You're afraid that if you need too much, people will get tired of you and leave. So you give and give and give, never allowing others to give back. What you don't realize is that this actually pushes people away. When someone can never reciprocate, the relationship feels unbalanced. They feel like they're taking advantage of you. You've trained people to see you as infinitely capable and never needy, so they treat you that way. And then you wonder why your relationships feel shallow and one-sided. And let me tell you something that might shock you. Your willingness to need others is a gift to them. When you trust someone with your vulnerability, when you ask for their support, when you let them help you, you're giving them the opportunity to matter in your life. People want to feel useful. They want to feel needed. They want to know that they can make a difference in someone's life. When you never let them help you, you're depriving them of that experience. You're also depriving them of the chance to really know you. They know your strength, but they don't know your struggles. They know what you can do for them, but they don't know what you need from them. This is why your friendships feel incomplete, because they are incomplete. They're missing the part where you're fully human, where you have needs and wants and struggles and fears. The people in your life don't really know you, because you've only shown them half of yourself. The giving half, the strong half, the capable half, but not the human half, not the part that sometimes needs help, not the part that sometimes feels lost. Here's what you need to understand about authentic friendship. It's not about finding people who never need anything from you. It's about finding people you can have a full relationship with, people you can give to and receive from, people who can see all of you and love all of you. But first, you have to be willing to show all of yourself. But it starts with you. It starts with your willingness to drop the act, to stop managing your image, to risk being seen as you actually are. And here's what I want you to do today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Think of one person in your life who feels relatively safe, someone who has shown you kindness or understanding, someone you respect and trust. Even if you're not particularly close to them yet, reach out to them. Not with small talk, not with surface-level conversation. Ask them if they want to have a real conversation. Tell them you're tired of shallow interactions and you'd like to connect on a deeper level. If they say yes, share something true about your experience, something you normally keep hidden, something that reveals your humanity. Then listen, really listen, not to their words, but to what's behind their words. Ask follow-up questions. Show curiosity about their inner world. Create space for them to be real with you. This might feel awkward at first. You're not used to having real conversations. Neither are they. But push through the discomfort. The awkwardness is just the sound of real connection, trying to break through years of superficial interaction. Do this with one person, then another, then another. Not all at once, but gradually, consistently. With patience and courage, you'll start to notice something. The right people will respond to your authenticity with their own. They'll appreciate your willingness to be real. They'll reciprocate your vulnerability, and slowly you'll begin to build the kinds of friendships you've always wanted. Friendships based on truth instead of pretense. Connections that feed your soul instead of drain your energy. Relationships that make you feel less alone in this world, but you have to be willing to go first. You have to be willing to take the risk. You have to be willing to be seen. The loneliness you feel right now isn't because you're unlovable. It's because you're unknowable. You've made yourself unknowable by hiding behind walls of pretense and performance. Those walls were meant to protect you, but they've become a prison. They're keeping out the very connection you crave. It's time to tear them down. Not all at once, but brick by brick, conversation by conversation, truth by truth, by halo tongue truth. The world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs more real people. It needs people who are willing to be vulnerable, people who are willing to be seen, people who are willing to connect authentically in an artificial world. Let me share something with you that changes everything about how you approach relationships. The people who become your closest friends aren't the ones who are most impressed by your strengths. They're the ones who are most comfortable with your weaknesses. They're the ones who see you struggle and don't try to fix you immediately. They're the ones who hear your fears and don't lecture you about positive thinking. These people are rare, Because most of us haven't learned how to be comfortable with other people's humanity. We get anxious when people share their problems. We feel compelled to offer solutions, but the deepest friendships are formed in those moments when someone sits with you in your darkness without trying to turn on the lights. You want to know why you have no real friends? Because you've never learned to be that kind of friend to others. And you've never allowed others to be that kind of friend to you. You rush to fix people's problems instead of simply holding space for their experience. You offer advice when they need presence. You try to cheer them up when they need to be seen in their sadness. And when you're struggling, you disappear. You don't give anyone the chance to sit with you in your darkness. You don't let anyone witness your pain without trying to make it better. You're so focused on being helpful that you've forgotten how to be present. You're so worried about solving problems that you've forgotten the power of simply witnessing someone's experience. Real friendship isn't about fixing each other. It's about seeing each other, accepting each other, being present with each other through all of life's ups and downs. But this requires a fundamental shift in how you approach relationships. Instead of asking, "How can I help?" you need to learn to ask, "How can I be present?" Instead of focusing on what you can do, you need to focus on who you can be. This doesn't mean becoming passive or unhelpful. It means learning the difference between support and solutions, between presence and advice, between witnessing and fixing. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is simply say, "That sounds really difficult. I'm here with you." Not, "Everything happens for a reason." Not, "At least you have your health." Not, "Try to look on the bright side." Just, "I see you, I hear you, you're not alone." This kind of presence is healing in ways that advice and solutions never can be. It tells someone that their experience matters, that their feelings are valid, that they don't have to pretend to be okay when they're not. And when you offer this kind of presence to others, they learn to offer it back to you. They learn that you're safe to be human with. They learn that you won't judge their struggles or try to make their problems go away. This is how real intimacy begins. Not with shared interests or common backgrounds or similar personalities, but with shared humanity. With the recognition that we're all struggling with something, we're all afraid of something, we're all longing for something. When you can sit with someone's fear without trying to talk them out of it, you've created space for real connection. When you can witness someone's pain without trying to minimize it, you've offered them a rare gift. When you can accept someone's imperfections without trying to improve them, you've shown them what unconditional love looks like. You could be one of those people. You could be the one who changes the conversation, who creates space for authenticity, who models what real friendship looks like. But first, you have to find the courage to be real yourself. Your real friends are waiting. They're looking for you just as desperately as you're looking for them. But they can't find you while you're hiding behind your mask. Take it off. Show them who you really are. Trust that your authentic self is worthy of love and connection, because it is. You are. The question isn't whether you're worthy of real friendship. The question is whether you're brave enough to claim it. Are you?